No music today. Hi guys, welcome back. Happy Thanksgiving Eve and happy Real Housewives of Beverly Hills recap day. So guys, I was saying this in my earlier videos, but I haven't posted any of the videos from today yet. I was trying to get a little bit of a glow going into tonight. We're gonna go to our friend's restaurant. They redid it completely for Christmas. Leva did her restaurant completely for Christmas. And Jason's like, I want to go see everybody and I want to see the restaurant. And I was like, yeah, well, I'm really pasty white right now. So I'm going to go get a tan. My face is like, bah! So that's what we're dealing with. Happy Thanksgiving to me. But with that, guys, go ahead and let us know in the live chat where you're watching from. And also rate last night's episode 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. Well, I'll give you my thoughts. Let's welcome Ashley from Taste of Reality, shall we? Hello.
Good morning. Happy early Thanksgiving.
Good morning. Happy early Thanksgiving. Do you have plans?
Going to my mom's house.
See, this is my first Thanksgiving with my mom in like, oh my God, so long. And earlier this morning, it was funny because we were fighting over a ham because I don't really eat turkey. And we were talking and she said, yeah, Jason's mom told me that she got a honey baked ham. And I said, well, that's what you got. And she said, no, I got a glazed ham with brown sugar. I didn't get a honey baked ham. Those are more expensive.
Oh.
And I said, Mom, what the hell is a brown glazed sugar ham? And she goes, no, it's really good. It's this 10-pound ham. I said, there's 3 of us. Why are we doing that? And she's like, trust me, Adam, it's going to be fantastic. And I was like, I have Domino's on Uber Eats ready to go, you guys.
That's hilarious. I feel that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm very fortunate. My mom's a great cook, so.
Mine too.
Love you, Mom. Bless her heart.
Yes.
No shade to Mom. Moms can't be perfect. We can't be great at everything.
Can't be great at everything. My mom's she's a great cook. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry. All right. So Ashley, it's been a second since I talked to you, and well, a lot's happened. Vanderpump Rules. We just fired the entire cast. What are your thoughts? Because I was talking to Kim about it yesterday. Like, what are you feeling about that?
I think I have an unpopular opinion as somebody who loves Vanderpump Rules. It's like one of my favorite shows of all time. I think we saw enough of this cast. I think last season we wrapped it up. No matter what they thought, no matter what they were going to do, if they had a 12th season with the original cast, I just thought was just like everybody just cashing in as long as they could. That's how it felt to me. I just don't feel like there were any stories to wrap up. I do feel for all the people in the cast. I hate to see people lose jobs and whatnot, but I think the positive here is that this opens a lot of doors for spinoffs and other shows, which I'm not done with this cast. I was done with this cast on Vanderpump Rules. I would like to see them in their organic friend groups, just kind of sporadically. Every time I use that word, I think of Clueless. But every time I want to see them in different places. I'm over trying. Lala's not friends with anybody on that cast except for Sheena, and she's friendly with Schwartz. Ariana and Katie hang out together, but nobody else except for maybe James. Like, I want a James Kennedy and Allie spinoff. I want to see something about her. I think there are avenues for these people, but I'm glad that the original cast is gone. Sorry, I know everybody hates me right now. That's my opinion.
See, I don't think that they could do something about her spinoff because I don't think that there's enough space for them to actually do a spinoff in that location.
They would have to use a drone. Just like I thought about that too. It's so small inside. They had to use a drone to film the opening sequence. They would have to drone it, or I don't know what they would do. But yeah, that's a valid point.
See, I feel like the only thing that they could really do, because I don't know how many Vanderpump spinoffs that they can give us right now with Vanderpump Villa, the new Vanderpump Rules cast, and then the Valley. I feel like they're a little Vanderpumped out. And if they could give us anything, I think it would be something to do with James Kennedy and his DJ career and traveling in the residency in Vegas. I think that would be the closest thing that we would get. And I think that would be really fun because also for James, I know he surrounds himself with, they all do. And Sheena, I think Sheena got upset with me one time when I flew to LA and I was on her podcast. I forgot what I was there for, but I did her podcast with her and I said, you guys have a lot of yes men around you. And she's like, what? No, these are our friends. And I'm like, no, these are, yes, they're your friends. But also when you have a friend, and I don't have friends like this, but I also don't want friends like this who like tell me all the time, yes, Adam. Oh my God, you're amazing. Oh yeah, look at you. You look like, yes, go ahead. Go on, queen. You're killing it. And it's like, no, sometimes it's okay to be like, you look like garbage today and
Mhm.
pull yourself together. And we're not going to be in our emotions, but those aren't the kind of friends that they're more groupies, I feel. A lot of them are really groupie like.
I couldn't agree more specifically, and I know this is a controversial take, specifically because I don't listen to the podcast, I hear the clips. I have never heard anybody say anything to Lala on her podcast. It's always been the girl Jess, that lady Jess, that recently quit, got fired, whatever, and her brother. And they both, like, I have described them as yes, her and the brother. I've just described them as yes men the entire time. Like, it was annoying to listen to even clips of that podcast because nobody would challenge them. And it's not like being rude, just quite. I'm not a fan of blind standing somebody.
You really could see, and that's what it was too. Like Lala always had people on who were on her payroll, or Easton lives in her home, or
Mhm.
Jess was getting paid. They're not going to challenge them. And then for Sheena would bring on people, and still to this day brings on people who are just really excited to be able to promote themselves on her podcast. So they're not going to challenge her on anything. I got a totally different perspective from working inside the restaurants, because when they would walk in, any of them, they would walk in and there'd be like 3 or 4 of the friends, groupies behind them. And they would just be
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, Sheena, where do you want to sit? Or, oh my God, like we're here with the cast and like, we need a table. We need a table. And I'm like, what do you want me to pull one out of my ass? Like, where are
Oh
you
my
going to get a
God.
table? We're packed. What do you want us to do? There was one time, it was Faith Stowers who walked into Pump, and it was the season that she filmed with Lala, and she came into Pump, and Jason was sitting there at the front desk because he was managing the restaurant. The whole place was packed out, and I think it was a Sunday brunch. And he's told this story before, but she was like, I need a table. And he's like, did you make a reservation? And she said, no, but I'm on the show. And he was like, okay, well, great, good for you. Like, you need a reservation. What? I can't just make you a table. And she's like, well, I'll call Lisa. And he said, great. Do you want to call her? Or do you want me to call her? Because I can call her too. Which one? And then
Yeah,
she
you
ended
can't
up
make a
dropping
table
it.
appear.
Yeah, you can't make a table appear. But there are some of those moments where I think about back to it, and it really shows you a lot and tells you a lot about people when they do have these moments where it's like, my God, you're on top of the world, right? But
Mhm.
how are you going to treat people? What are you going to do with it? How are you going to act towards the people who are around you, who are excited for you, but also they're not on that same level? Are you going to treat them like garbage, or
Mhm.
are you going to be normal like Ariana Madix? Always so normal, always so sweet. Stassi Schroeder, same thing. People might not believe it. Same thing.
Love to hear it.
Yep.
Well, at least about Stassi and Ariana.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
who's to I mean, honestly, and somebody made this meme and it's true. Who would have thought that in the grand scheme, specifically post 2020 and all the big firings, that the people still on TV would be Jax Taylor, Kristen Doty, and Stassi Schroeder from the original cast?
Like, did our universe just get turned upside down?
This is the weirdest episode of Black Mirror. Hi, Chicken Nugget. This Black Mirror episode needs to end already. The Twilight Zone, I'm over.
And I thought it was funny too, because I saw where Sheena said the other day, and I sent a couple of them messages yesterday, and I'm sure right now everybody's squalling their eyes out. They are probably freaking how do we pay for things? Like, how do you pay for the $3 million mortgage? How do you pay for the private school? How do you pay to live in Los Angeles in a mansion? How do
Right.
you actually afford this?
These people
when
are spending like at least like $5,000 a month on their rent/mortgage, at least before all the other fines and stuff. These people are spending so much money.
5,000 is like,
Nothing. That's like a small house in Burbank.
that's I think it's probably double, triple that in mortgages
Yeah. A
right now.
small house in Burbank is a $500,000 or like 5,000 a month.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like I think that the only two people who really did this right, in my opinion, would be James Kennedy and Ariana Madix. They bought modest homes. And I know
Yeah.
a $1.6 million home is not a modest home, but when she put half of the money down and she's waiting for the other money to come out of the sale of her home with Tom Sandoval, yeah,
Right.
she can afford that. It's not like, oh, I'm going to get a $3.2 million home after I have my other $1.4 million home that's in Palm Springs. That's
Right. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to finish this article, but I saw this blind item. So
uh-oh.
do you want me to
Uh-oh.
read it to you?
Yeah.
It's major. And I feel honestly, I feel bad. I hate to see anybody struggle. The former bar star is freaking out about not having a job. She is in way over her head in debt. She thought she was going to get a spinoff, but it happened, but it didn't because no one likes her. I don't like that. Saying no one likes you is not okay. She is asking to be a friend on the Housewives franchise where she is from. And then it says Lala Kent, Vanderpump Rules, Salt Lake City Housewives.
That's not going to happen.
No, it's never going to happen. But
That's
just
not
like
gonna
the fact that, and if it's a blind item, take it for what it is. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. I just feel bad. Like, I don't like to see people lose their livelihood, but at the same time, and I know I came off really cold last week or 2 weeks ago when we were talking about Monica specifically, but just people in general, like people who go into this reality world or any kind of like world where you're getting this kind of fame and opportunity. To even just get in that position, you're part of like the 0.0001%. Like you already won the jackpot. For that to happen 2 seasons is amazing. 3, like these people have ridden this wave for so long. It just makes me sad. It doesn't feel like a lot of people saved their money, and that makes me really, really worried for them.
It doesn't even make me sad. I just find it to be so stupid. I remind Jason all the time. I think it's just dumb, in my
It is
opinion. Like,
dumb. I'm trying here. I'm
I,
trying to
I,
be nicer, but it's hard.
I know you're trying to be nice, but like, I say this to Jason all the time. Like, even with the way that we navigate with trying to start different businesses or moving or whatever, I think that you always have to remember, like, this is not, we don't have a PhD in doing YouTube. You don't have a PhD in being a reality TV star. This is not something that if God forbid this job's taken away, that you're really going to have like some longevity somewhere else. It's like, if you do, then amazing for you, but you really have to be smart with it. And it seems like a lot of the people have not been smart with it. I agree with you. I don't wish this on anyone. And I'm sure that there is a lot of crying and a lot of trying to figure out what the hell are we going to do. And not to use Sheena as an example again, but I even thought about this. Like, Sheena also employs her family, and Brock doesn't work right now, as far as I know, unless something changed. And that is a lot on your shoulders. Lala just had another baby. A lot on your shoulders.
You're right. It's a lot. I definitely, honestly, I feel so bad for this situation. But one thing I think we need to talk about, and I think it was very clever of Deadline to put this out right away, but Deadline put out Sheena Shea, Lala Kent, Tom Schwartz all going to the Valley. And people are like, oh, we don't want them on our screens. Dude, if like people read the article, it's season 2. We already know that Sheena and Lala have filmed season 2. They don't have contracts for season 3. Literally, that article, the only thing new that it really told us is that Schwartz was officially going to be on that season. But even when you think about it, if you follow them on social, like Jackson, Tom Schwartz hang together a lot. They do appearances together. They travel together. They live in the same building now. It all makes sense. I don't think that they're going to get roles on the Valley more than what we see them in these appearances on season 2, unless they're amazing. But I just don't think that they're going to change anything.
I don't think so either. And I think Andy Cohen actually said in a clip at one point that they're very happy with the cast that they have. And I think that if you start implementing, again, I don't want to stop anybody from getting a job, but I think if you start implementing too many more people from the original Vanderpump Rules cast into the Valley, then you're just creating another Vanderpump Rules. Whereas having these new couples on the Valley, I feel like there's a lot of story to tell. There's a lot of interest, and they really came out like guns a-blazing for the first season. And they connected with the audience. Like they proved they don't need other people. And I agree with you too. I think it's going to be just like we saw on season 1 with Lala and Sheena. Every once in a while, you're going to see little cameos. You're going to see cameos of Tom Schwartz, because Jax Taylor is going to need somebody to film with aside from Jesse Lawley. And he bought the townhouse next to Tom Schwartz. So yes, of course you're going to get cameos, but it's not the same paycheck. It's not the same contract. It's definitely not, it's not relieving the stress of $4 million in mortgage.
Right. As far as we know, they don't have contracts. It's already filmed. They filmed basically as friends of. I'm sure they were compensated, but probably episodic.
Yeah. And if it's still friends of and you're compensated episodic, they're probably, I'm guessing, and I know this is still a lot of money, guys. Again, I'm saying in the grand scheme of comparing it to the bills that they have, they're probably getting maybe $5,000 an episode. And if they did 5 episodes, that's $25,000. Then they're 1099. Part of that goes to the management. Part of that goes to their other part of their team. And then the other goes to taxes. And California is expensive as hell. So that $25,000 paycheck is probably really about $11,000.
Yeah, that's 2 months rent or your mortgage. Or 1 if you're Lala.
Toaster JB said, why can't they get real jobs? They might.
I always plan for what I'm going to do next. Like, I always have a plan B. Maybe that's what, like, I was a theater kid. I'm very passionate about the theater. But I realized that I don't like not always having a job. I like to know exactly where my paycheck's going to be from. And I couldn't handle that life. And what they're going through is honestly my nightmare because I couldn't handle the anxiety of not knowing.
That's why I'm saying karma's a bitch, and I don't want to sit back and, like, if anybody's sitting back and enjoying this, like thinking like, oh, well, haha, you deserve this, and like their lives are going to come crumbling down. It's like, do not put that out there, you guys, because this in some other form, with you not being on reality TV, you know, like you could get fired tomorrow.
Right.
And then you're going to be thinking, what am I going to do? So don't put that negative, like it's so true. What you put out into the universe is what you get back. Just wish the best for everyone and be positive, because that's all you want for yourself.
I like to think of karma like a cat purring in my lap because it loves me. And karma is a queen to some of us. And also, I'll stop quoting Taylor Swift now, but also I felt really, really bad about the whole Schwartz and Sandy's thing. Like, I feel like people are just like rubbing their noses in it, which I get. But Schwartz and Sandy's is a whole ass restaurant with a whole ass staff of people who work there. I just don't. That feels, I get it. Everybody hates Tom Sandoval. I mean, I don't like to see these things happen. And yeah, I had 2 good experiences at Schwartz and Sandy's. Mind you, I don't like what he did to Ariana. I think he's trash for what he did to Ariana. But also at the same time, like, I don't want to be judged for the rest of my life on the worst thing I've ever done. Because I'm definitely the villain in people's stories. In more than one story. So I need to own that.
You know, if anything, I just really... after feeling bad for the cast, I felt bad for Kristen Doty, because I'm like, the one day she's so excited to announce she has a little rainbow baby. All of this is coming. And then you overshadow it with this shit. Like,
do you know how the People magazine aspect of that works out? Obviously, Kristen had timed. She had photos done with People. So she told People magazine that she was having this baby before she told the world. Do you know how that works? Like what they pay her, how that works?
I don't know down to that. Like, I would be lying if I knew like down to the exact details. But what I'm guessing is just like Lindsay Hubbard, once they find out that they're pregnant, they reach out to their team. Their team reaches out to people like the company that you pee on the stick, like Clear Blue or People magazine or whatever. They see who's going to bite, who's going to offer them money for this. And then they set something up. But when they do, they sign non-disclosure. So nobody's going to leak the information. And then they come up with a date that works for everybody, or a date where it's going to come out in that next magazine, you know, whatever. And then that's when they put it out. But she probably, if I had to guess, got paid about $25,000-$30,000 for that.
I figured that's kind of how it worked. And I wondered specifically because Orange County, we just saw, I think it was People again, who were on the beach for Jennifer Pedranti and Ryan Boyajian. How do you say his last name again?
Boyajian.
Boyajian. I've been really trying and I really want to remember it. It really is just a beautiful name. Ryan Boyajian, theirs was sponsored. Their engagement was sponsored. So I'm like, how sporadic? Oh my God, I said sporadic again. How sporadic is it if we're like, okay, I'm going to call my managers, so they call people, and then all of a sudden we're going to have these people on the beach with cameras for when it just all seems so staged to me. So I like seeing how that works.
It was like when I interviewed Lenny Hochstein's fiance, Katharina Mazeppa, and I asked her, I said, you know, like, how was that? The photos look so pretty. And she's like, no, we were already engaged before that. She's like, we set that up for a photo shoot. Like, and we had to do like the whole 9 for the photo shoot in order to give that over. But we already had our moment to decide separately.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, of course, they're not going to go on and be like, guys, this is a makeshift. Like, this is a fake story. It's not really how it happened, but this is what we're selling to you guys, because then people are like, if this is fake, why are we even paying attention to it? And then it just takes away from whatever it is that we're talking about.
Right. And it's obviously something that's contractually bound because the People magazine article drops at the exact same minute that the social media post comes out. So for instance, the engagement post came out at the same time as the People article. Like, they're always timed together. So again, these are the opportunities that these Vanderpump Rules Vanderpump Rules stars are gonna miss. All of a sudden you get pregnant and there's no $25,000 paycheck for you sharing a picture for People magazine. Like, that's terrifying.
The podcasts aren't as interesting because you're not talking about a show, because the show's not there anymore. So the ratings and numbers for that go down. That means sponsorship opportunities go down, promotional opportunities go down, appearance opportunities go down.
I feel that specifically for Lala and Sheena, because they talk about Vanderpump Rules all the time. Like, I've listened to Katie's podcast just here and there, and they don't mention Vanderpump Rules. Or if anything, it's in passing. It's not a big point of the show, which it's a prominent piece of shenanigans and Give Them Lala.
Do you think, okay, before we go over to Beverly Hills, because I cannot believe we just spent 25 minutes on this, but hey, guys,
it's like the Vanderverse burned to pieces yesterday.
Yeah, the Vanderverse
burned to pieces. Rose from the ashes. I'm here for the new cast.
Do you think that Lala going on Watch What Happens Live and really just confirming that she's good on everybody, do you think that helped put the nail in the coffin? And they were just like, look, guys, we don't have shit.
I mean, that might have been the nail in the coffin, but it wasn't a secret beforehand. We knew, we heard her explicitly say it, but they're not hanging out. We don't see the Toms together anymore. We don't see Sheena with anybody other than Lala. Sheena and Ariana have been friendly on social media publicly since the news dropped. But aside from that, they weren't exchanging pleasantries. Like, this show is over. Honestly, I'm glad the fact that it's not. I of course hate that people aren't getting their checks. But as a fan, it's over. Like, I feel like I hate the expression beating a dead dog.
I'm calling
But I feel it's like beating a dead dog.
Well, I think it's horse, but
I don't like either one of those. One's worse than the next.
Okay. All right, guys.
You're right. It is beating a dead horse. Wow. I'm sorry. I need to go hug all my fur babies. I would never hurt anybody.
Now going into Beverly Hills, last night's episode, how do you think it compared to episode 1?
Episode 1's always going to be the big one. Episode 1 was magic. It was grand. This, I thought, was a very good follow-up episode. I give it a solid 8, and that is not a shade. That is a good episode. What about you?
I'm going to give it a 7. I'm going to give it a 7, and I like that we picked up where we left off with Dorit, and Dorit is coming on really strong. Dorit's pissed. And
I'd love to see it.
She's activated. She's checked in. And she's like, I could potentially be divorced from this man over here. And if I am, I need a paycheck. And somebody's got to pay for the glam. So I checked in. So you guys, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. And Kyle's like, why are you talking to me like that? And she's pretty much like, shut up, Kyle. For once, you guys have been telling me to shut up for years. Now I'm telling you to shut up. And stop making something out of nothing. Because that thing that happened at BravoCon was nothing. And you want me to feel bad for you so we can just completely get away from what the real root of the problem is. But instead, I'm going to hold your feet to the fire. And you're not used to that because everybody else is afraid of you. And Kyle just like stormed off. And I'm like,
Kyle's face was just like, she had no idea what to do, and I love to see it. Hold her feet to the fire, Dorit. She deserves it after all these years of her doing exactly that to others. I love this version of Dorit, excuse me.
Kyle's not used to it. And even, yeah, I guess, unless I'm under the wrong impression, I thought that Kyle only stormed out of one situation this season, and that was already the first situation where she stormed out. And then there's another situation, I think a pajama party, where she's going to end up storming out. But yeah, we can tell, all right, girl's not happy. She's not happy. But
I love to see Dorit like this. And again, I think I said this last week. It's so sad how this woman is at the worst place in her life, Dorit. Probably the worst, if not one of the worst. And this is when the audience has loved her the most and when we've been most on her side. And it just sucks that like she has to be like in her life at its low. This is a toxic situation to be in reality TV, and this is the proof.
And oh my God.
That light, geez.
Oif.
It felt like the movie Ghost.
I just got touched by the Lord.
Good Lord. Literally. Amen. I feel like
Amen.
RuPaul. Can I get an amen up in here?
Oh, shit. Okay. What I did not like watching last night was when I saw Sutton share the fact that Mauricio replaced the photo. I was like,
that was shady.
Mauricio, dude, that is probably like
the worst.
You have to understand that that's such a D-bag thing to do.
The worst thing he could do.
Especially
and the fact that Kyle told it to Sutton knowing it would go on TV, like Kyle master manipulated that one perfectly.
Do you think it was fake?
I don't think they would make that up. Maybe, you know what? You would know better than me. You're more behind the rope than I am. So I would listen to you rather than me. I'm naive. I would say no. What do you think?
Well, I didn't think about her planting it with Sutton because Sutton wasn't really there for her last season. So why would she trust Sutton this season with information like Mauricio was changing out the photos in the house? And also Mauricio and Kyle, especially because I've had a few conversations with Farrah, they have a lot of respect for their family dynamic and for those daughters. The daughters come first. Their family comes first before any of this. And I just have a hard time believing that he would be naive enough to switch out a photo of their mother for this woman, Emma Slater, that at the time he's all over the press. You know, like they got caught holding hands. It looked like they were kissing at one point. They're running around. It looks like he has a new girlfriend. And then you bring the girl's photo into the house. Do you know if I found it? If I don't even give a shit. If I was getting a divorce and there was a photo of somebody else in my house and it replaced my photo, it's not only is the photo going to burn, I'm going to be like one of those like bad like punk rock videos where I'm sitting here like smoking a cigarette with like the, you know, like mascara coming down my face, watching everything burn. It's all burning. With everything.
You're all of a sudden the Dorit meme of her smoking from episode 1 and then the middle finger from episode 2. That is you.
Yeah. And then some sort of music video of me just walking out and you see a big explosion in the house as I'm exiting it.
It's so emo of you.
Yeah. Adam Val Porter. Yeah. You're definitely right. I would go ballistic. You just wouldn't do that. You don't do that, especially when you have kids. You don't do that. You know, I wasn't allowed to have, and this is way back when I had my stepmom in my room. I had photos because we moved from Florida to Tennessee, and my mom gave me a bunch of photos, and I had a photo book. Well, my mom sent me frames, and I had, you know, she always did that. She always sent me photos of us together, and I put one of our photos in a frame, and I had to take it out of the frame because I wasn't allowed to have a photo up of my mom in my room. And thinking about it, I'm like, because she was so insecure and uncomfortable, it was my mom, my room, but it's her husband's ex-wife. It's like people really freak out about stuff like this.
Well, and Kyle said on the after show that she has still not brought this up to Mo. He has no idea that that bothered her so much. And that just like proved my point that I feel Kyle master manipulated this because Sutton isn't her friend. Her and Sutton are playing the game because they know they have to film a show together. Sutton said last night, oh, just because I'm hanging out with her, to the producer's like, wow, looks like you and Kyle are chummy. She's like, it might look like that, but we're not. Like, I'm keeping my friends close, my enemies closer. I think Kyle knew exactly what she was doing by telling Sutton that, because it would get on TV, and Kyle's hands are again clear because she's not the one who brought it up on TV. Sutton did.
Also, Jason pointed out last night that Sutton, he's like, man, Sutton's doing the damn thing, because we have Jennifer Tilly.
Amazing.
And also Bazoma. Am I saying that? Bose. Bazoma. I think that she's incredible, but both newbies were brought in by by Sutton Strack, and I'm like, well, that's also another interesting take that I didn't really kind of pay attention to.
I didn't think of that either. That's a very, very good point. And Sutton obviously has the greatest friends. Like, there are no two better friends to come in than these two friends. The same season. Are you kidding me? This is gold.
And also, I think that there are people who make really great friends on reality television. I think Marisol Patton makes a fantastic friend. I think Cynthia Bailey makes an excellent friend. I think that Jennifer Tilly is going to make an excellent friend. Kathy Hilton, you know what I mean? Some
Kathy's
people
amazing.
Really love that friend role. And I remember talking to one of the Real Housewives of Dallas, and they were talking about the friend roles and what the difference is. And I guess if you're part of the main cast in Housewives, you have to get everything approved, from your outfits to what you're wearing for filming, confessionals, all of that. And then if you're a friend of, you're kind of able to just show up when they give you a call time and move at your own pace, but you take a lot lesser of a paycheck. I remember when I was getting ready to do the Jen Shaw interview. Do you remember the one where she had the hat tilted?
Yeah.
So she was piecing that together with her assistant that night, Marilla, when I was on the phone on FaceTime, just like watching as they were piecing it together. And she was getting text messages from production, and she was getting pissed because they had her filming 3 or 4 different filming scenes that day, and it had to look like multiple different days. And she had to get each outfit and each look approved by them. And I said, wait, you have to get everything approved? She's like, is this not stupid? Because if I'm wearing yellow, then Whitney can't wear yellow. If I'm wearing this, then... And I'm like, wow, I never thought about that.
No? Yeah, I love all those things. You got to keep it pretty for the eyeballs.
Got to keep it pretty for the eyeballs. But also last night, guys, if you were not watching, Bazoma made us fall in love with her more and more, not only because she's a boss and a badass, and her story is like insane, especially being able to walk away. She was the CMO, Chief Marketing Officer of Netflix, and did she say Uber?
Uber, yeah.
Uber and another company called Endeavor. Insanity, you guys. And she was running these businesses, and she also had the ability to know when the men who came in who were above her were telling her, like, listen, you're doing good, but you're not doing great, and we need you to do better. She had the ability to walk away from these multi-million-dollar jobs and be like, well, this isn't fulfilling, and I'm going to find something bigger and better. And instead of waiting to be fired or have your show taken away from you and given it to a new cast, she was like, I'm grabbing this by the balls, and I'm going to take control over my career, which is, a lot of people don't have the oomph in them to even do that. Most people don't like change. They just stay where it's cozy and what they know, because they're afraid of the unknown. I give it to her.
No, I agree. I think she's amazing. I love the story with her husband. She's beautiful. She's successful. She plays by her own rules. I'm here for it.
The story with her husband made me really sad.
I know.
Yeah, that was really, really sad. But also, this is another thing too, where I don't want to say that this is, I think a lot of people watch for fluff and to sit back and they have their little glass of wine and they just want to watch mindless television and kind of escape whatever's going on in their lives. But also, some people take away a lot from these conversations, like what we're going to see with Mary Cosby and her son talking about like the addiction issues. But even this is relatable to some of the audience who might have lost their loved one or their child's parent. And it's not as, it's sad, and it's, you wouldn't wish this on anyone, but it's not as toxic as like Monique ripping Candace Diller Bassett over the table, or, you know,
Of
like
course.
sometimes Tamra being like, you're a fucking alcoholic. You know, it's like, it's
This
not,
is real life.
yeah. I think it's a better version of being nobody, again, you don't want to be like, you don't want to trauma bond over something like this. I get it. But it's a better story as far as like, do you know what I'm saying? How am I wording this? Because I'm
No,
trying
I
to focus
feel
on
like
my foot in
I
my
think
mouth.
I know what you're saying. We're getting a better indication of a reality. Like if we're talking about reality TV, we're getting it from these stories of Bose talking about her struggle. You know, she and her husband separated. They got back together. He passed away. She's raising the daughter on his own. She's raising the daughter on her own. She's got this show. That is a relatable story for so many people, whereas us arguing over things that we're making up, like that's just not real life. I think the show has just lost focus of what it is, and it's supposed to be reality, and
Yeah.
people just make up drama for the sake of having drama, whereas this drama, I hate to even say it's drama because it's real life and it feels petty to call it drama, but me as a consumer of reality TV, I want more of these honest conversations about Bazoma's, I hope I said that correctly, Bose's husband in his journey and her losing him and her raising her daughter on her own. That's the reality I want to see, rather than all the nitpicking that we're seeing in other franchises, every other franchise, in fact.
I agree with that. And also, I love, I didn't even think about it last week, but when Kathy Hilton walks in and she goes, boss, and they said, no, Bose. And she's like, no, the boss. And she's like, yeah, I guess I am the boss. And I was like, look at you, Kathy. Kathy was like, oh shit, I messed this up, but I'm going to say, no, she's the boss.
You know, Kathy has been known to put her foot in her mouth, and those ladies were ready for that to happen, but Bose let it go, and Bose was very generous in that moment. It could have been a thing, and it didn't become a thing, and that says a lot about Bose.
You know, somebody like other people would have easily made that into something. And I think that that's why somebody was telling me too, that they feel like people, for example, Southern Charm this season has a new gay cast member, Ryan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they also have Rodrigo. And there was this fear that maybe because they don't want too many gay cast members on Southern Charm, because it needs to be diverse, and you need like the straight douchey frat guys, and you need diversity. Like Charleston has a lot of diversity, so you kind of want to tap into like what Charleston is really made of, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have your gays and your straights, and you have like Vanita, who's a gorgeous Black woman, and then Leva, who's Persian. You know what I mean? Like you have everyone. And somebody said, actually, they didn't say it to me, they sent it to me. They said, is Bazoma being brought in like Anne-Marie Wiley to replace Garcelle because Garcelle doesn't have a real storyline? And I was like, where do people's heads go? But now you're getting in my head, making me think like, no, hell way, they better not be trying to replace Garcelle, because I love Garcelle.
No, why would we replace one with another? Like, why can't we have these two housewives interact on the same show? Like, is there a cap of how many people of color a show can have? Like, that makes no sense to me.
Yeah, when they sent that to me and they're like, well, is this what's happening? And I'm like, well, then why isn't Erica replacing Kyle, who's replacing Dorit, who's replacing Kathy, who's replacing Sutton, who's like, that doesn't make sense to me. But
Right.
I think that people, you know, it's always though, people run with a lot of conspiracy, especially with shows like this. And people want to feel like they're getting ahead of what's really going on before it's actually happening. And that's how a lot of rumors come out, and a lot of untruths.
Rumors and nastiness.
The rumors and nastiness. Now, on to this conversation. I got to get your thoughts.
Wow. PK, the glow up, the new teeth, the weight loss, the fact that he's not like red in the face anymore. The glow up is real. I would like to point out the man has still not said on air, I am an alcoholic. And I am still really not loving the fact that Dorit was just talking about his alcohol use is not a secret, but using the terms, he is an alcoholic. I just thought that was too much. I am flabbergasted at the audacity of men. Is PK really upset with Dorit for not going around and being a trophy wife once they had children? Like, I get that he's like emasculated his term, that she is not necessarily the breadwinner, but she's the one going out and she's the one invited to things. That made him feel small. That made him feel emasculated. I appreciate the honesty and the disclosure on that. A lot of men wouldn't say that. And I think that was very big of PK to admit that. With that said, he's like, she used to go out with me. She used to always be there. I'm like, yeah, she was like a trophy wife. She is the mother of your children now. She's raising them. If she was out with you all the time, she wouldn't be doing her job as a mother. Like, what do you want?
Also, I'm not even going to mention the name of this person, but on OC, I saw a couple clips back to when this woman was a housewife, and she talked about how, you know, she has her husband and he's never changed a diaper. And the husband, it cut to a confessional where the husband was like, you know, she raises my children. She stays home and raises my children. And I'm like, it just seems like such a dated mentality of how that would be. Like, even when Jason talks to me about having kids, I'm like, no, because it's not fair, because I can't just expect you to raise them, because then that makes me like an awful parent. But then also, what would I do with it?
Sent it to boarding school. And I said it. So it tells you where I am in my motherhood journey.
Yeah, I would send it. I'd be like, you're going to Switzerland.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Come back when you're well trained.
Or I would start teaching it toys at like 2 years old, and I'd be like, okay, we're gonna play with the toys in front of the camera every day. We're gonna practice. And I would be like a stage mom, being like, you're gonna be on YouTube at 4 years old, and we're gonna open and unwrap toys. Unboxing, who's excited? Like, we'd be going to work. This
fair.
I would be the worst parent.
No, this is why I don't have children.
Yeah, I'd be like, no, we're gonna figure out how we're tax writing this off. And yeah, but for her and for him, you can tell where she feels like she's taking on a lot of it. And he, I think, is looking at her like, I pay for nannies, I pay for people to come in and help you with being a parent, I pay for people to take the kids to and from, I pay for private schools, I pay for a lot of this stuff, and I'm also contributing to the household. And this is kind of like, I was expecting a wife that was going to be by my side all the time, and people grow and change, and that's just not the same wife that he married.
She was fine at the beginning of their relationship, and the dynamic they had, obviously, where she was just getting dressed up every day and making these reservations and, you know, treating him like the man he needs to feel like he is. But yeah, she ended up getting her own career. He ended up feeling small, which I can understand both of those things. I really, really didn't like hearing them talk about, well, and I appreciate the honesty, of course, but how they were so horrible to each other in their marriage, and how they would, like, people at a restaurant would be like, oh my God, is that how they always talk? Like, that was really, really sad to me. I didn't like hearing that.
No, when he said, like, I wouldn't even talk to a server like that, I'm like, what are you, if we were a fly on the wall inside of that house,
right?
What the hell are you guys
saying?
Yeah,
she was saying, like, I hope you rot in hell and things like that. Like, that's at some point, you got to let the mouse go, for lack of a better term. I feel like that's where we are with Kyle in this divorce process. And why, I'm sorry, this is such a crazy pivot. Why on earth, Kyle Richards, I want to grab her and I want to shake her. If Sutton Strack gives you advice on divorce, take notes. The woman gets $300,000 a month after taxes from her divorce settlement. Listen to Sutton.
But also, okay, so I was going to say that I have a different take on this. I think it's kind of like when somebody decides to quit cold turkey and they're an alcoholic, and they go on this journey, and now they're a year sober, and now all of a sudden they're the know all be all of going sober. So they're looking at their friends at parties and they're going out to functions and they're like, really, do you need another drink? Do you need another this? And they start telling you and pushing that on you, even though they might be right. That's your own journey. And I feel like they should just kind of stick to their journey. I look at it both ways. I'm like, this woman literally is the queen of getting a divorce. She has $350,000 a month until she gets remarried. She will never get remarried. Ever. Nobody would. I wouldn't get remarried.
Absolutely not.
I'd be like, sir, you can move in the house and we are going to be like Oprah and Gail. Thank you.
I was going to say Stacy and is it TJ or JT or something on Potomac? Like, yeah, we're just going to not be doing it and doing all the things. Like, we're going to be very far from married, but we'll be together.
We'll be together, but we're going to be so far from married. And no, guys, I don't think Oprah and Gail are together, but I don't think that they're not together, but I don't think that they are together. So just want to put that out there. Even though I don't think that they are not together, but okay.
I'm so confused.
I'm confused too, but it was even funny last night when Sutton was like, like I didn't even get anything out of it. And Erica was like, girl, you got $350,000 a month. And she's like, no, the money doesn't mean anything. And Erica's like, means something to me. It means something when you don't have it coming in.
Yeah, it would mean a whole lot to her. The second she didn't have it, she would realize how important it was. Yeah, that was very out of touch for my girl Sutton. I love me some Sutton, but that was one of those like, ooh, welcome to Earth, girl.
But then also Kathy Hilton too, when she was telling, like, when she was talking to Kyle and saying that Mauricio has been aging and that she looks like she could be his daughter. I'm like, Kathy, like
dude, that was so messy and I love it. Like, I have a sister. If anything ever happened to my sisters, like with her marriage, and I'm sure she feels the same way, but we would drag that man, and she would say the same for, like, you're going to drag them for the mud because they just did your sister dirty. I understand exactly, but this is exactly why I don't love Kyle on the Housewives. She will not do anything messy on camera. And she wanted to agree with her sister. She wanted to drag that man for trash for doing what she thinks he did to her. And she's like, no, I want to keep it cute on screen. And I can't stand Kyle for that reason.
But see, then I almost respect this a little bit because that's also the father of her children. And she's like, let me not like this for just a moment on camera. This will live out there for forever. And like, maybe let me just keep this a little bit more.
I respect what you're saying, but her kids aren't kids. Like, they're adults. The one is still like 16 or something. So technically she's a child. I understand. And if that's what happened, I respect that. I just don't think that's what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, also Bose's house, I would take her house over any of their homes. Over any of them.
That decor, those walls, did she have actual flowers coming out of the walls, or was that such textured wallpaper? I don't know what it was. I need a personal tour. I won't be creepy. Like, you can blindfold me and like drive me into the house, unblindfold me, let me take a look, blindfold me, and then take me back to like a Starbucks or something that's very unassuming, and I would have no idea where it was.
Is this your like pitch?
I realize how creepy and stalkery that came off. So I'm going to try to disassociate from that statement as far as I
can. No, I get what you're saying, but it was like even to, I remember talking to Ariana when her and Tom were ordering that live moss wall for their house. And I thought that was so cool. But to your point, if you do have real flowers, and I didn't catch this part, but if you do have real flowers coming off of your wall, it doesn't matter. The house is freaking incredible. The house is just it. The house is better than aside from Villa Rosa, that is still to this day my favorite, all-time favorite house on Real Housewives.
There's a moat.
Oh, and Yolanda's Malibu mansion.
I mean, I think about that refrigerator at least 3 times a week.
I think about what a headache that refrigerator would be, because if you go in my refrigerator, like when I come home with soda water or waters, I'll put them in the plastic and just shove that shit into the refrigerator. And Jason's like, okay, this takes 45 seconds, and then
Monster.
he will come out. And I drank so much soda water, you guys. Like, I sit here and I just chug soda water, but I'll just leave it inside of like the little box and I'll open it and pull it out as I go. And Jason's like, this looks like shit. So let's just take 30 seconds. I'm going to show you. These go here. That goes here. Unwrap something. Don't be lazy. I'm like,
I used to bartend in college, and everything in my refrigerator is labeled out. Like, if you're drinking La Croix, it's going to say La Croix facing you every single time.
do you FIFO?
Oh, absolutely. My husband was a chef. So, yeah, we do all the restaurant things.
So, guys, if you don't know
FIFO, if you don't know, is first in, first out.
Yeah, first in, first out. See, I gotta get better about this. And I'm a work in progress, you guys. I'm a work in progress. But going into next week's episode, what are you looking forward to most?
Let me just refer back to where we left off. Okay. I'm very anxious to see more of PK and Dorit. I mean, it's messy, but I'm riveted. I missed Garcelle this episode. I know she's out working, but I missed her with the group. I am so excited to get more Jennifer Tilly. I want her in every scene. I agree with you, your assessment on the friend of role versus the full-time housewife. I don't know if being a housewife is the end all be all. Like, if you don't need the money, if you're a Jennifer Tilly who's married to a very, very wealthy man and has a very, very good career of her own right, where she's a working actress in like big movies, she doesn't need that housewife paycheck like a lot of these other women do. Come on and be a friend. Wear a great outfit, go to the party, talk some smack, and go home and live your life. It's not that big a deal. When you're Kyle Richards or Dorit, it becomes a big deal because it's your whole life. I think the friend of role is the best way to play this whole like housewife reality game. I love Jennifer Tilly and I want more. This light is killing me.
Yes. I love Jennifer Tilly and I want more as well. All right, guys. Well, again, it is the eve of Thanksgiving, and also Friday is the biggest shopping day of the year. It is Black Friday. So if you guys have not already started stocking up on all of your goods, then now is the time, because everything's going to be anywhere from 25 to 75% off. It's usually my favorite shopping day of the year, but I asked Jason, I was like, so what can I buy this year? And he was like, you can buy your ass some time and sit inside the house and like spend some time with your family and not online shop. And I was like, okay. No,
again, the audacity. No, I'm just kidding.
The audacity. Yes.
How dare you want to spend time with your husband and your family at the holidays?
I know.
That's sweet. Now, my husband told me I was out too much recently, and that just makes my heart happy. He wants me home more.
I like that. All right, guys. Well, if you don't know, Ashley's going to let you know where you can find her, starting with Instagram, and then we're going to move over to the site.
All right. So our Instagram page, we are growing every day. It looks like we just hit 71,000 followers. So thank you so much. Nice. We have a great time on Instagram. Imani is really, really great about putting all the newest things up. Ariana was rehearsing for her performance at the Macy's Day Parade. That's the thing. She has something to fall back on. James Kennedy has something to fall back on.
Yeah.
Awkward silence here. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. We are very much into the, she wrote an Erin Leachy story. I have to be honest, I haven't watched New York in like 2 weeks now. It's not that I'm like, oh, I'm not boycotting. It's nothing like that. I just can't get myself to turn it on. And in fact, I fast forward it to watch what happens live. I'm sorry.
No, Sarah Evans even said, are we talking Roni? Worst episode ever. I don't want political things on Housewives. I mean, I checked out 2 weeks ago too. I cannot watch it. And I hate
the fact that the New York cast hit the lottery getting that time slot after Beverly Hills. Their ratings went up, or not their ratings, but their views went up like 100,000 last week just because of the time slot. even that, I still, and again, I am not the person who's going to boycott anything or protest. Like, these people don't have that much control over me. I don't let my dislike of a new cast let me affect my TV show watching. Like, I'll watch it until I don't want to watch it. So yeah,
Right.
I'm glad she got something out there. And I heard about this story about these women choosing to terminate their pregnancies at some point in their life, which is so important. Yeah, the site, Imani and I have been working really hard on the site. As you know, it's been revamped, so thank you for that. We have our live discussions. You can always tell by the numbers of viewers in our live discussions. Like, people are not loving Roni. You can tell. They had
Wow.
24 comments, whereas Beverly Hills had over close to 300. Like, they are not shy. We do not. Married to Medicine. Are people watching it? Like, Potomac, I feel like a lot of people have checked out on a lot of these Bravo shows. Love After Lockup, people love it. I've never seen an episode, but the pen pals are all over it, and we love them for it.
All right, guys. We'll definitely go join the live discussions on tasteofreality.com. And also, if you're on TikTok, you can go to T_R for Taste of Reality's TikToks. And then you can also go on Instagram over to taste_reality, and that is the handle. But happy Thanksgiving Eve, everyone, and we will be around. I don't know, I have to double check. There is Salt Lake City tonight, right? Or no?
It's on, which
Yeah.
I think is weird. Like, why would they put it on the day before Thanksgiving?
I don't know. So I guess maybe we won't be talking about Salt Lake City this week, you guys, because tomorrow's Thanksgiving and people are going to be with their families. So maybe we'll see what goes on Friday, but there will be no lives tomorrow, at least on this end.
Fair.
Yeah, but we'll be around with other things. But I love you guys. We will see you later, and happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Bye.